Hello everyone, welcome to Just Invest Today, and in today's video we are talking about a stock market crash of 90%. This guy named Harry Dent said there's going to be a crash of 90% in the market. But before we really get into that, like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm always going to provide you with so much content, so click it, click it, click it. So before we get into this video, I'm going to listen to what he says and let's go over what he says and what he's thinking about the stock market. He's saying it's going to crash 90%. That is crazy. And this is what he's preparing for. But let's realize what happened before this. Like, is Michael Burry the best investor ever? Like, think about what's happening in the market right now. Look at my stocks, Etsy. All the way from $296. 44% all the way to 163. I've been getting killed on Etsy, even though I sold some of my position. 5, another position I love, all the way 236 was the highest, 26% down. C Limited, can you believe C? 355 all the way to 175, 50% haircut. Meli, we're talking about Meli right here. Meli has crashed 40%. So you're just seeing all these growth stocks, like even Palantir, all of these growth stocks been getting killed in the market. This is what's been happening in the market. People are afraid of inflation. People are afraid of interest rates. People are afraid of the supply chain issues. People are moving all of their money and going into value companies. They're not looking at growth anymore. They're just saying growth sucks. We don't know if they're going to start producing profit eventually or making money. We're getting the hell out of here because we don't know what's going to happen with interest rate. We don't know what the Fed's going to do. They're going to stop buying bonds and mortgage-backed securities and equities. They're going to stop buying and printing money sooner or later. So get the hell into value stocks that I know my money is secure. So that's what's happening in the market. But remember what happened with Michael Burry? Did we forget what happened with him? Guys, he sold out of 8 stocks completely, 100%, before this huge crash is happening in Q3 2021. Can you imagine that? Like, how did he? It's almost like he just predicted this stuff. Like, think about it. Like, he just predicted. Like, look at all the stocks. 100% sold. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. And he had big positions. 13% position is not like small. 18% in discovery. That's not small. Reduced 68%. Reduced 53%. So he only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holdings now. So this is what Michael Burry has done, and we know Michael Burry is one of the best predictors of these crashes, and he usually just sells early, or he kind of hedges his bets really like almost perfectly. So that might be a telltale sign. Who knows? Look what Howard Marks done. Look how many of the positions he sold in the third quarter before this huge tech crash that we're seeing. Like, it's honestly crazy what these kind of macro type investors, like they're kind of macro, micro type investors, and this is what they're seeing in the market. They're seeing a huge crash from this huge boom because they're like thinking, how is this boom happening when the economic times are not thriving? Like, there's the boom in the stock market, but the economic times is not supporting that boom. Like, GDP is down, like jobs are down, jobs there, but people are not trying to work, more retirement, more supply chain issues, higher inflation. So it's just like, it's not equaling up in their minds. And remember too, the Chinese market has already crashed. Look at this, from 101 all the way down to 37. That's a 63% haircut. Man, that is crazy when you really think about it. A 63% haircut in the price. And these are the best Asian companies, the best companies in the Asian stock market, like Tencent, JD.com, Baba, Bilibili. We have all of these stuff, man. So just looking at that, you can see why people are predicting a bigger crash, because the boom has been going crazy since like 2009. And there has to be a boom and a bust. There has to be a bust sometimes, even though the March bust happened, but it wasn't big enough. It didn't sustain itself. It just reversed really quickly. So do you agree with this? A 90% crash. So let's listen to this video.
This is going to be the biggest crash, the biggest downturn of your lifetime is what I'm saying. And most of it's going to happen probably in 2022.
So before we really get into this, so he's saying this is going to be the biggest crash. And you got to think about the Great Depression times. Like, the market went down like 80-90%. So he's saying it's going to rival that. So if it really rivals that, like, what do you think these hedge funds, institutions are thinking? I honestly think they're thinking the same thing. Like, in my mind, the things that they're doing in the market, just moving all that institution money to value, is like unprecedented right now. It's just like you just don't see it like that. Like, every single institution moving their money like in like sequence. So it's like they're predicting it themselves, but who knows? Because they don't want to get caught in the tech crash, in that financial crisis crash, and they don't want to get caught in that. So they're just moving their money.
Like how big in terms of percentage?
Okay, so first of all, I've studied every major bubble in history and the first crash. And I'm just saying the first crash, when the bubble finally gives, okay, like in 1929, or in 2000, in May of 2000, when it first crashed. The first crash averages 46% in just 2.6 months. Now, when a major bubble of this magnitude, like 1929 or 2000 or now 2021, crashes, the whole crash tends to be about 80 to 90%. 1929 was down 89%, 78, in 2002 crash, the NASDAQ was down 78%. I'm saying stocks in general in this crash will be closer to the 29 to 32 crash. I'm estimating 87% for the S&P 500 and maybe slightly higher for the NASDAQ. So this is not something to sit through and just rebalance, as financial advisors say.
Yeah.
You have to get out of the way of this, and then we will have the buy opportunity in investments of a lifetime in around late 2023 or so.
Okay.
So you have to remember this. When he's saying all this, you got to remember, no one can predict the market crash. Like, you have to think of it. Not even Michael Burry, not Howard Marks, not Ray Dalio. No one can predict when the crash is coming. They can have an estimate. They can think what they want to think. Because remember, back in like 2018, 17, people were saying the exact same thing. There's going to be a market crash. The market has been going on for too long. And look what happened. There's still a boom for like another 3-4 years. So like, you can't predict the crash. No one can predict it. So even though he's saying these things, you just have to take it as a grain of salt. Even though, he might be right, he might be wrong, you still have to take it as a grain of salt because no one can predict the crash. That's why your safest bet, and anytime someone predicts this, and anytime you think there's a top, is to buy good companies. Hold good companies that have strong balance sheets that can endure during any economic time, that can raise their prices, that have competitive advantage. Because think about it, they're going to recover. Soon as they're going to recover because the company's going to get better no matter what happens in the market, no matter what the stock's going to do. Because in the real world, people are still going to buy iPhones. Still, people are going to still use Googles. In the real world, people are still going to use Facebook. So it doesn't really matter what happens in the stock market. It'll provide you with opportunities if it does happen. But you can still, even if you have the stock, you own it right now, and you didn't get out, it doesn't matter because they're going to recover. The American economy, the Canadian economy, the European economy, that's all going to bubble, boom, right back up. So even though he's saying this, you still got to think about that.
So a very deep and steep decline of about 40% plus over a 2-month period.
The first crash, the whole crash is going to be 80 to 90%.
Right. Well, but Harry, the last time you were in Kiko, you told my colleague David Lynn that you expected the stock market peak in January of 2021 and then a major crash, much like what you're describing now, by April of 2021. You were calling for a 40% crash by April. You then said that June would be when the markets would collapse. Obviously, very hard to time the markets, but the S&P 500
it is extremely hard to time something.
See, and there you go. He was wrong already. So, like, how many times has this guy made these predictions? Can you imagine if he made any of these predictions from, like, 2009 and now? He was wrong the whole way, and if he didn't have money in the market, he's saying, get all your money out of the market. Can you imagine getting your money out of the market in 2009, 10, 11, 12 when everyone was still scared in 2008? People were afraid to put their money back in because of what happened. But there was a perfect time to put your money in, but everyone was scared and no one really wanted to put their money in, instead of only the people that knew about investment and knew how to think about the markets put their money back in. And you would have missed 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You would have missed all of that if you listened to a guy like this' advice to just take all your money out now, thinking that the market will crash this year 100% for sure. Who knows?
Right.
Not natural. I predicted the 2007 top 20 years before it happened. That was a natural boom driven by real consumers and investors. You've got governments fighting this crash, and so it is impossible to predict exactly what's happening. I am telling you, and I will stand by this, we are going to see, and I think it's going to happen in 2022. You cannot tell exactly, but the signs are recently, what we've seen one index from the corporate bonds to then the small caps and Bitcoin, and then the NASDAQ peaked in November 22nd, and it looks to me like the S&P could have peaked basically yesterday. So we see the succession of peaks down into narrower, more large cap. That's a classic long-term top. That's why I'm saying it's likely now, but there is no way to tell this until it happens. But I am warning people with unbelievable analysis in history of every bubble, major bubble in the last 150 years, that first crash will be 40 to 55% so fast you will not see it. So if you wait to see if I'm right and take that risk, you are going to be hit very, very hard. And history is very clear about that. No exceptions to that.
And that's so true. A lot of people are actually getting out of the small cap stocks. You see Bitcoin price there's a large movements in Bitcoin. You see everyone putting their money in the value stocks and all the large cap S&P stocks, which does create a mini bubble. If everyone keeps putting all their money in their safest bet, that's not going to provide a good return. But when you really think about it, some of these stocks, like Google, I think Facebook, those are undervalued still, in my opinion. So I don't think we're there yet with the S&P's best stocks like Google, Facebook, even Amazon, Microsoft. They're kind of high valuations, but not to the point where I think it's in bubble territory and at risk of just collapsing 40-50%. But who knows what happens in this market? This guy's predicting a lot. We see Michael Burry, we see Howard Marks, we hear Ray Dalio kind of opening your eyes to the potential of a crash. So just think about it. Think about what you're going to do with your money. Like, I still have my money in the market. I'm not afraid of this because I know I own good companies that are going to survive these times, survive what's going to happen in the market, no matter if it goes up, goes down, boom, or bust. We know the government is keeping the money supplied in the market. You know they're going to take it out eventually. They're going to have to take it out or inflation is going to go crazy. So it's going to be a crazy year this year, man. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't think we're going to see the same returns. Like, the S&P went up like 24%. Like, it was crazy for 2021, man. So in 2022, we don't know what we're going to predict, but man, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens this year. So guys, tell me what you think. What are you doing with your money, man? Are you investing it? Are you keeping it on the sideline? Are you preparing for a crash? What are you doing, man? So guys, please like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm always providing you with good content. Peace.